there is one thing that you cannot fall for, and that is that long term misfortune can happen anywhere without the masses collaborating with it. If someone tries to rob an elderly lady in broad daylight in a mall, people would jump on the guy, or people would call the cops, or whatever. And today you have smartphones. They would record the incident with a smartphone and spread it on social media to catch the guy. Or let's say now someone would be on the street, drunk, screaming. People wouldn't get along with that. They would call the cops, or they would tell the guy to leave, whatever. So, what I'm pointing out here is that when the public is upset with something, they will act against it. Either they will act themselves, or if they realize that the confrontation will be too costly, they will call the cops or let some other organization do it for them. So if the public acts against what they don't like and act against what they don't want to put up with, then how can you explain all the child molestation, all the economic exploitation, and all the genocides that happened and are still happening on the earth? How can you explain them? It's easy. The public is in on it. In politics, people do not want to admit this simple fact that when evil occurs on the earth, it's because the public is in on it. Because if the public was not in on it, it would not have continued so easily. I'm not saying that nothing bad can happen on the earth without the public's consent. Bad things happen. Bad people do bad things. But continuous misfortune can only happen when the public has an investment in it. Let me give you an example. Let's say now that some guy is arrested. He is accused of rape. Now, the question becomes, or the question should be, where's the proof? Well, let's hear both sides of the story. If there's actual proof he did the rape because it's recorded or whatever, okay, that's different. But what if there's no proof he committed it? It's just her word against his. Or let's say now that the case does not add up. The guy was not even in town when the alleged rape happened. In the last case, in the last scenario I just told, it's obvious the guy's innocent, because how can the rape take place at some hotel room where the guy never was? So, in short, when there is doubt or when there's actual proof that the accused is innocent, the public just say, cut it out, man. There is no proof, and there's even proof the guy's innocent. The guy was even in town. The guy was abroad when the so-called rape happened. Cut it out. That's how the public should respond. But is that how the public responds in general? No. Because look at this. If there's doubt that the accusation by the woman is true, then they need to admit there is a crazy woman amongst them ready to accuse men of a horrible crime just to get attention. And if this woman was so desperate enough to go in the open and do this, what else is she willing to do if she doesn't get the sympathy she's looking for? So if the public has to admit that this woman is just crazy and attention whoring, that means she's willing to do more and worse next time to get sympathy. So if they now choose the side of justice and reality by saying, okay, lady, your story doesn't add up, and the guy wasn't even in town when the rape happened, or the only Or hold on a minute, you were in a sexual relationship with the guy, you left the guy, and now that the guy earns more money than you, suddenly it was all rape. When people decide to side with reality and with the truth, what happens is now is that the narcissist who lied on the man, she will now lose it. And with her, similar people like her will lose it too. And now you have to deal with hundreds of crazy narcissists losing it. Because when one narcissist loses it, others tend to follow also. So the public does not want to put up nor deal with hundreds of reprobates losing it. So, in this case, instead of facing the difficulty of dealing with the fact that there are people so desperate for sympathy that they will lie on someone else, try to destroy someone else, instead of facing this, which is quite painful, they will decide to pretend as if the accused is guilty. Even when there is proof that the guy didn't do it. Why? Because here's the thing. If they admit that the guy is innocent and they give into it and stand up for the guy, they will have to deal with the hundreds of reprobate females that will go crazy. And those reprobate females are mothers, daughters, their wives, their sisters, and nobody wants to have to go against their own mom, their own sister, or whatever. So it's easier to blame the accused for being accused. Even when the accused is innocent, it's easier to blame the accused than it is to admit, oh dear, we have some crazy people amongst us, willing to go to the extreme to get sympathy. Now, what if someone is convicted for rape, or maybe murder or whatever, and later the conviction overturned? How often does it happen that the public apologizes for not doing their due diligence? It seldom happens. The truth is, when you look at those miscarriages of justice out there, where the conviction had to be overturned, when you look at many of those cases, you're going to be shocked that this individual was even convicted in a court of law. Because when you look at the proof, there was no proof at all. And then you think, how come the judge agreed to sentence this individual? If there's a jury involved, you think, how did the jury conclude this man was guilty? How come the prosecutor insisted on getting this man behind bars? How come the public did not revolt against the stupidity of this case? It is because the people want to escape. That's why. And let me tell you, the public, when they get the opportunity, they will turn on you just to secure their daily ease. If you're innocent and you're being picked on, but it doesn't suit their interest to stand up for you, they will join the perpetrators against you. That's what happens with society. So do not rely on the goodwill of other people. There are other people with goodwill out there. They exist. However, despite the fact that there are good people out there with goodwill, that does not cancel out that there are also many people out there with bad instincts. They just want to be left alone at all costs. And if it suits their relief to turn on you, even if you're one of them, they will turn on you. It happened with so many people throughout history, and it's still happening today. And it will continue to happen until the day Christ comes back. Do not underestimate the public's willingness to collaborate with evil. I mean, if someone was falsely convicted and they were released from prison later on, ask the people that supported the conviction, ask them why they supported it. And they would say, well, back then the police did their job so well. If you're convicted, there must be something to it, right? No. It comes down to this. The people did not want to face that there was a setup going on. Because if they would admit there was a setup going on, then they would realize, man, if they're setting that guy up or that woman up, they will all set me up one day. And this realization that they can be set up, even by people close to them, is something they didn't want to process. So they just pretended like what was happening was right. And they're pointing the finger at the judge, the police, the detectives, just that they don't have to be held accountable for contributing to the bad outcome on someone else. Do not underestimate people's willingness to collaborate with evil. People, in general, will collaborate with evil unless they are stopped. So if you don't have any power nor any leverage in daily life, you're finished. That's why believers walk by faith, walk in the power, and do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Well, that's it for now. Go and grow with Christ and be at peace.